Hi, I'm Ron Ledbetter,
And I'm Paula Ledbetter.
and we have been recently redirected for the second time and are currently traveling the country in our 30-foot camper.
Hey there. Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. This is where we dive into real conversations, share stories, and just hang out talking about finding our purpose in retirement. We're glad you're along for the ride, and let's get into it. Curt, here we are again, the Redirect Podcast. This time, a man down. Dale is MIA. He is traveling, celebrating Fran's birthday. Hard to believe she's still 29. But not only are we cruising without Dale today, we are on location at the Madison Place, Madison Place Coffee Shop in Madisonville, 2900 Plainville Road. If you want to swing on by, they have some incredible food, great coffee, even better people, and the setting, the story is remarkable. Come check them out. They are fantastic people. If you're in Madisonville or anywhere around it, 2900 Plainville Road. Before we get going, Curt, I have a question for you. Now that you're retired, have you ever considered selling your house, and whether it be jet setting, living under a bridge, or traveling, or some other extracurricular? Have you ever thought about that for you and Jackie?
You know, I think it's something that I would think everybody sort of thinks about that. Let's just chuck it. Let's just get out of the rat race. Let's unplug. Let's just go someplace and just explore, have adventures, and just like, boy, that sounds really like fun. You know, let's travel. You know, we all have these dreams of just doing something like that grandiose, but very seldom do we execute on stuff like that. Life gets in the way. Our responsibilities get in the way. In our particular situation, we'd have a caravan of three, because we just can't say, "Hey, Alex, we're heading out. You're on your own, baby." But that's what we hope will happen at some point. But no, haven't made that step, but I have thought about it. What about you, Adam? I mean, you're in that pre-retirement age. Are you thinking about what that's going to look like? And would you ever chuck everything and go?
I don't know. I think right now, I want to check everything. Work is a little bit stressful. I want to chuck everything and go now. So it does have some appeal to me right now, but no, I haven't, I'm still far enough out. I don't know exactly how I'll spend full-time commitments, but yeah, it's fun to consider. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation to learn how it might look.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, let's talk about our guest today. We're very fortunate in having two very dear friends of my wife and myself on the Redirect Podcast. We've known Ron and Paula Ledbetter, I'm going to say, for about 15, maybe even 20 years, when we lived outside of Pittsburgh in a town called Beaver, Pennsylvania. Recently, Paula contacted Jackie and mentioned that they'd be traveling through Cincinnati, and they wanted to connect with us. And before we dive into their story, let me tell you a little bit about Ron and Paula. Ron is an educator who taught math and physics for 26 years at Southside High School, located outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he also served as athletic director for 13 of those 26 years. In 2016, Ron left Southside High School to pursue an opportunity at Moon High School, where he was an athletic director solely for 7 years. Paula met Ron while attending Allegheny College, where Paula was active in CCO, Coalition for Christian Outreach. Apparently, Ron needed some help. In 1990, after graduating college, Paula and Ron got married. Paula secured a position within Westinghouse, creating and managing contracts, which evolved later into another role in logistics. As Ron and Paula began to build their family, Paula decided to leave the career at Westinghouse to be a stay-at-home mom, which lasted for 12 years. During that time, Paula was very active with CBS, Community Bible Study, where she served as a children's director and later returned to the work world. Ron and Paula have been married for 35 years. They have 3 adult children, Jenna, who lives in Montana, Emily, who's in North Carolina, and Ben, who is in Pennsylvania. Now, this is when it really gets fun. Ron and Paula decided to redirect their lives and careers by selling their home in Moon Township and moving to Hershey, PA to be house parents, working with high school girls at the Milton Hershey School for a 2-year period. Ron and Paula decided to retire in August 25 And being avid outdoor enthusiasts, they decided to buy a travel trailer and hit the road. Since August, and at the time of this recording, which is October 22nd, Ron and Paula have been on the road for 83 nights, have visited 13 states, and have made 37 stops in their 30-foot camper. Ron and Paula, welcome to the Redirect Podcast.
It's great to be here, Curt and Adam.
It's so much fun. I'm glad we were able to join you.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves and your family makeup and what led you into the Hershey School, please.
So back when our children were young, we learned of a young girl in our church who was being raised by her grandparents, both of which then passed away, and she went back to live with her single mom, which she didn't have custody for a reason. And it soon became apparent there was neglect. So the school worked to place her at the Milton Hershey School. That was the first that the school was on our radar.
Being an athletic director, I'd often go to Hershey, Pennsylvania for the athletic directors conference, and Milton Hershey had a booth there one day. And I knew about the school, obviously, like Paula said. So I went up and started talking to the lady manning the booth and said, well, what are you here for? Who are you looking for? It's like, well, we're looking for a lot of different positions, but we're looking mainly for house parents. I'm like, house parent, what's that? So she started telling me how you would take care of a house full of either elementary, middle school, or high school children, boys or girls. It's a co-ed institution. And you would, just take care of them like a parent would. And your time off would be the time off the time that they were in school. So I said, yeah, but you wouldn't want like an old retired couple to come do that, would you? It's like, well, actually, yeah, that's actually who we're looking for because they've, raised their family. They know how to do it. And they obviously have the time on their hands to do it well. So I took her card and said, well, maybe someday we'll check it out. And then as, fate would have it, that time came a little bit sooner than we thought. And we went online and started looking into it a little bit more. And there was so you want to be a house parent recruitment video. And we start playing the video, and the person that pops up on the video, we both go, Sal. So the person that was doing the recruitment video used to go to church with us and be on our small group Bible study. So that gave us an opportunity to reach out to them and actually go visit the school before we even applied.
God was just apparently over it from the very first step. As soon as we saw his face, we're like, okay, God's at work. Let's go with this. So we went and visited and sat around a table with third grade girls, and we came home and applied.
The impetus for us applying at that point was we were in a position with my career that I could have taken an early retirement by 1 year. And I really enjoyed what I did, but I also wanted to leave when I still enjoyed it and didn't want to get to that point where it was drudgery every day going to work and doing what I did. And, the state of the world after COVID, people weren't very nice to one another anymore. And I was more refereeing fights than I was being an athletic director. And I didn't really like that so much. So before it got to that point where I hated going to work and doing what I did, if I could get out, I thought it was time to be redirected.
What was the span of time between getting that business card at the booth to sitting in the third grade visit?
18 months, yeah, year and a half.
Relatively quick then.
Yes.
Interesting. And then how long until you decided to actually dive all the way in and you put in for your retirement and you became an actual house parent?
They were kind of happening at the same time concurrently. Mm-hmm. He was starting to have thoughts of leaving the application process. It was like a 6-month vetting process from the time that we applied until we were offered the position. And so we were offered the position around Christmas time. Both of us wanted to finish a school year. I was working in an accounting firm where we were managing schools' books, and I didn't want to walk out of that before the end of the school year, the fiscal year. And he wanted to finish his year. So we sat on it and got our ducks in a row for that 6 months.
So that itself is a huge redirection. That, you had a house. Your yes. Your kids were off to school or in their own worlds at that particular time, right?
That is correct. Yep.
So you made the decision to sell it, and then you're going on property over there and living in property on the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
How did the kids feel about this decision?
They didn't understand it at first. They kind of thought we would be bringing these kids to our house for holidays and, having a really big, Christmas dinner with them. But, I think there was a little bit of angst on their part because we were moving away from our home base for the last 3 years and going somewhere we've never been before. But once we explained it to them and they understood better what it was all about, they were very happy for us and they knew we were perfect for the role.
We did an episode on letting go of your stuff with Gay Marie Guigeni and such, and the selling of your house plus deciding what possessions you're going to keep and then what you're going to bring with you, what you're going to get rid of. What was that process like?
Well, the background there that makes it easier for us to be doing what we're doing is we've lost all 4 of our parents. And so we, through the years, have emptied out both our mom's homes. Dad's passed away 20 years prior. So we've already gone through the accumulation of stuff, realizing that surviving children don't want stuff. So in our moving to Moon from the home where we raised the kids, we had already gotten rid of 26 years of stuff. We'd gotten rid of 26 years of stuff. So the Moon home was already a downsized step 1. Then when we left to go to Hershey, it was downsized step 2. So we've tried to become more minimalistic the whole time, do the Swedish death cleanse with every step and every move.
And so how was your experience at the Hershey School?
It was a tremendous experience. I mean, I wouldn't have changed those 2 years for anything. I think we're, I like to say our kids would get a kick out of this. We were fairly good parents. But I think I'd have been a much better parent if I'd had the training that we were provided at the Milton Hershey School before we had our own kids. They do a really, really good job of vetting and then preparing people to be house parents. And being that we were with high school girls, it might be a little bit creepy if I kept reaching out to them now that we're gone. So Paula stays in touch with a lot of them, and just the heartfelt back and forth between them is an indication that, what we did was the right thing to do.
The children that come to the Milton Hershey School are coming from poverty. And poverty just doesn't happen. That, these kids are coming with trauma of one type or another. So we learned a lot about caring for children with trauma. And, no 2 children are the same. We had the inner city poverty. We had the rural poverty. And those children are all brought together. So in Milton Hershey School, when you come out, you are at first an emergency coverage house parent. Then you fall into a weekend relief role, which is where we were for 2 years. So we served 3 homes that when the house parents were rotating off for respite of 3 days, we jumped in, ran their program, loved their girls. Then when they were coming back on, we jumped to house 2 and so on to house 3. And then we had our time off. So we were actually loving and serving 3 sets of house parents, and it would end up being about 35 girls at a time. So there's a lot of personality, a lot of trauma to negotiate. So the emotional weight we didn't anticipate, and that was hard. That's really hard because you can't protect them and save them. You can just love them where they are, which isn't that what the Lord does with us?
Yeah.
So we tried to provide stability and consistency in that temporary role that we had with them. We were the visiting grandparents. We could make chocolate chip cookies.
Ron, gosh, I should have prayed for you more. I mean, around 35 girls. I'm sure, though, they're all sports
A lot of
experts.
estrogen.
So a question was your 2-year involvement there. Was that sort of like an agreement that you said up front, we're going to do this for 2 years, or was it? Could you still be there? Or you just decided to go. How did that work out?
There is no set agreement. We could have been there for a month. We could have been there for 5 years, 10 years, until we died. They, I think, would like you to stay as long as you possibly could.
Continuity.
Sure. And that was part of the reason why we got out after 2 years. We, going in, did not know how long we were going to be there. I probably thought we were going to be there a little bit longer. Paula probably thought we were about this amount of time, maybe a year longer than we actually stayed. But the continuity is the key. So we knew that we couldn't sustain this rotation between 3 houses any longer than we did. Different beds. So we're sleeping there at house A, mattress A, house B, mattress B. And Paula's got a little bit of a back neck issue that compounded. And a way to remedy that would have been to get our own house and we'd sleeping on our own bed every single night. But to keep continuity for the kids, we said, if we're going to do that, then we're going to commit to being here 3 more years. And we're not going to leave these kids after being with some of them for only a year, because we just don't think that's fair to them. So that was the impetus behind us leaving.
You were either going to commit for 3 more years, or that was a good interval to step aside and move on to something else.
Yes.
That was a big step to go do that where you are in life and the things that you did, right? That was a very challenging redirection for most people. What would you say to people to consider something like that, that are looking for purpose, that are older, have a lot of experience and wisdom? Is it an experience that you would recommend people to think about as a potential if they're trying to do something that's sort of different than the norm?
I would be very honest with them and let them know how hard it was going to be, how emotionally taxing. I mean, physically, it's not a hard job. I mean, honestly, it's boring at times. There's a lot of sitting around. But when it gets emotionally heavy, it gets emotionally heavy quickly. And you have to be prepared for that. And there's no amount of training that can prepare you for it. They can tell you about it, but until you live it, you can't even describe it to somebody.
It takes a special person with a special heart in order to make the commitment that you did. It's not something that anybody's, hey, I'll give that a try. No. Okay, I get you.
I mean, they told us, and I don't know if it's true, but less than a 1/2% of the people that apply actually become house parents.
Wow.
So it's a pretty thorough, vetting process.
Yeah.
And we came in with a group of 13 couples to be house parents. And by the time we left after 2 years, 5 of those couples had already left. So it's, we got there for 2 years, and there were couples that left after 3 months. That left after, didn't make it through training all the way. Well, I think everybody made it through training, but some not very far after. But there's classes that came in after us where the entire class is left. So it's just, it's a very tough environment.
Yeah.
So you left the Milton Hershey School, and how'd you end up on the road? How did that decision come to be?
So we have always loved the outdoors. We're big hikers. We had always talked about when Ron retires. The dream was I would pull up to the curb on his last day with the camper. He would jump in and we would take off for Maine, a place we'd never been before. So when we saw the writing on the wall that we would be leaving, and we at the time don't own a home, we thought, this is it. This is our chance. And we started dreaming about what would we want to see? Where would we want to go? And the rest is now history.
I mean, I don't think that when we started talking about that trip, we were not doing it out of a home base. So that's kind of what makes us unique, is we didn't anticipate that. So every decision we make now not only involves us having an end point, but also a landing point. And we don't know where that's going to be yet. We have, children across the country. We think we might know where it is. We kind of have it narrowed down to 2 places. So we're going to winter in Wilmington, North Carolina, and try out living in some different areas there in Airbnbs to see if that's a place we might want to settle. And February, March, we're going to be on the road again for a little bit longer and go spend the summer with our daughter and son-in-law in Montana.
I got to give our listeners a little backstory on this. When Paula reached out to Jackie and said they were swinging through town, because Ron is originally from the Cincinnati area, we were so delighted to have the opportunity to sit down with you guys. But then we heard their story, and they're like, yeah, we're staying over here at the state park, and we're at site number 2. And I look at Jackie and I'm like, hey, why don't we get our tent out? We can spend a day or so with them. So lo and behold, we got online and booked a place, and we got down there in our little truck camper and tent with it on the back of a truck. And they have this beautiful, beautiful pull along camper that is, it's better than some homes I've been in, but no, but it was so great to be in your world for the day and a half that we were together. I mean, and I told this to Jackie, there's just nothing like being away from distraction or away from the noise, away from all the stuff that just sort of weights us down, and that we're having authentic communication. And we love you guys. I mean, we just don't talk about football and we don't talk about recipes. We dive into where is God having me now? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And just having some great laughs, and as well as just getting to know one each other better. And there was nothing more enjoyable, I thought, in this whole thing, is that we get together for breakfast. We went for a hike. We sat back down and made some pudgy pies in the fire, made some sandwiches, and then we played some euchre, and we just got caught up. And there's nothing like it. You guys are passionate. You guys I remember back when you'd take your kids on a summer trip and you'd go out west all the time and camp, and you've done some, according to your stories yesterday, some very, very exciting hikes. So when you're planning, who's the planner? All right. And how do you determine where you're going? Do you set a route? So you're sort of like, me being the organizational guy, you start over here up and above, and then we're going to work our way around. So it's a nice big circle. Or are you doing hub and spoke? And when you get there, how do you decide what to do, when to do it? Just give us sort of a little run of the process of it all.
Well, I would say in general, both of us are planners, but I definitely take it to the next level. We wanted to be spontaneous with this trip. We have planned it more than I think we wanted to originally, but it has all worked out. So when we started to plan this, we reached out to college friends, people we haven't seen for 30 plus years. Hey, we're coming to your state. Never been there before. What do we want to see? What do we want to do? And the added blessing to this trip that we weren't anticipating is we have reconnected with so many friends, because of course they then say, well, if you're coming to my state, you got to stop by, park in our driveway. So we have reconnected, and we have so many friends we've been blessed with that we can sit down and it's like we saw them yesterday. And we just pick up and get caught up and are like, wow, he's a lawyer. I didn't think he'd make it through college. And we've had the best time reconnecting with people. I think that's been my favorite part of the trip. So we've tapped into friends to find out what to do. And then once we know where we're going, we start researching. Fortunately, we have more than just an atlas at our fingertips now. So, hey, let's go here. And what should we do when we get there? How many days do we think we need to be there? And that's how this whole thing has kind of evolved.
Yeah. To say that Paula takes planning to the next level is an understatement. When we did our out west trip back in 2012, 11, whenever it was, Paula had a spreadsheet, and I always joked that she would sit there and push her glasses up her nose and say, well, the average temperature in Yellowstone National Park in June is a low of 33 degrees. And I'm like, I'm not taking our winter coats. And you'll say we get there, it's snowing, and we're buying winter coats. So it's wise to have a planner in the group, and she does a great job with the logistics of that kind of stuff. And we have a thing called Harvest Host, and that lets you stay at a brewery, a winery, a farm along the road. People that will let you stay in their parking lot if you support their business. So that's been cool. We've met some cool people that way, and the planning was very fun, but also frustrating because there is so much you want to see, and we don't have an unlimited amount of time. So we kind of had to pick and choose. And having never been to the areas, we relied a lot on other people's travel itineraries, I guess, to kind of hit the highlights. And AI is a great thing. Hey, I have 3 days in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. What should I do? And it gives you kind of a little outline. But again, I mean, we could be on the road for 3 years and not ever see everything.
Have you made any new friends along the way, people you want to stay in contact with so far?
Unfortunately, no. And I think we anticipated that we would be making connections all along the way. Our average stay is it's anywhere from 1 to 3 nights. We've had some 5-day stays, but they're more rare. So the loss of community has been the hardest part of this trip that we didn't anticipate. We miss the connections. We miss the Jackie and Curt's. We miss our church. We miss that community that we took for granted.
Yeah, that was a interesting thing I noticed when we were there, and you brought that up as well, that you pull into a spot and you have your spot, you have your ring, you have your routine of doing things, and everybody else is doing their own thing. And I guess I sort of think that, sort of like sailing, when you pull into the marina, everybody's a sailor and everybody talks to one another, everybody gets together and everything is going on. But that too, you have your own little boat and you do your thing on your own little boat and you do your thing in your little lot. And you're out there with people and you say hello, but you probably really don't get to know people like you'd like to, or it feels awkward.
Yeah, it does feel a bit awkward. We've had some really good conversations with people, but it's not like, hey, we're going to be going here next. You want to come join us or anything like that. So, I mean, it's been cool to hear people's stories of why they're on the road, why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, I think deep down, I want to be a campground host someday so I can maybe forge those kind of relationships. And
the Julie McCoy of Love Boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Campground director, Ron Ledbetter.
Let me go back to the one question I asked earlier when you were getting out of your house and going to Hershey. Now you had whatever you brought with you there. I'm assuming the majority of that stuff is in storage someplace. And then you had to even downsize even more, in the sense of you don't have a big closet, a walk-in closet for clothes. Are you like Jack Reachers, where you sort of walk around and go into a Goodwill store and take off your clothes and get new clothes and off you go for the day?
We haven't done that yet, but winter is coming. No, things went to one of three places when we were emptying the Hershey house. Things were either going into the camper, into the 10 by 15 storage unit, or onto Facebook Marketplace. And we donated a lot of things to other house parents or to the curb, which got picked up quickly. Mm-hmm. So that was yet another cleansing, and really had to decide, do we want to pay to store this thing? Because if we're storing for a year or 18 months, would it be less expensive to just replace it on the other side when we resettle? So things we'd never thought about before. But yeah, winter's coming, and we're not heading to the Southwest as we had originally dreamed. So we don't know what our winter temps are going to be like and what clothing we might need.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So if this is this permanent for you? And if it isn't permanent, how long do you anticipate cruising around the U.S.?
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be permanent. Like Paula said, we miss a sense of community too much. And although I think that we're pretty good at forging our own community wherever we go, that lack of consistency is hard. And we crave that. We were involved in small group Bible studies. We were involved in a lot of different things where I don't want to say that we were the center of that, but we tried to create it wherever we went. When we put the addition on our Beaver house, 25 years ago, we said, we're doing this, but we're going to use our house as a center of community. And I think that wherever we go, we're going to try to continue to do that. We did it when we were in Moon, and it's a cool thing.
I want to say you're doing it now too, because we got together with you, and that's a form of community. And again, for you to reach out, Paula, there's a story behind that. Ron texted me in July and said, hey, Curt, just want to reach out to you and tell you that, you're a dear friend of mine, and I'm so glad that God placed you in front of me. And I got that, and I was sort of uncomfortable with how to respond. And then life got in the way, and I never responded back to him.
I said, listen, Paula. Paula, listen, if you want to reach out to Jack, you can. But last time I reached out to Curt, he didn't respond. And I was vulnerable.
Well, I'll say this in front of everybody who's listening. Ron, I love you. And I'm so thankful that you guys came into town. And yes, even in your mobile capacity, you are connecting. And the opportunity that we had to connect with you is priceless. And I can't say how much we enjoyed the day and a half of just hanging with you and having a great time. So
going back to Adam's original question. So Adam, we're going to take a 3-month respite, I think, 3 to 4 month respite. And then we are going to go across the Southwest, maybe up the West Coast, and end up in Glacier National Park, Montana, where our kids are.
And nest there for a little while.
Yeah, we're going to spend the entire summer there. We're probably going to get a job of some sort. There's a lot of
listen to this one. Go
a lot of opportunities in national parks. And one that really has struck our fancy, Paula, is...
And there's a little general store that has a little coffee bar. and they have an advertisement that they want a barista couple.
Oh my goodness.
So last summer when we were visiting Jenna and Zach, we pulled ourselves over there, went in, and we're like, okay, what's this going to entail? A barista, when you're in a national park, means keeping the urn of regular and the urn of decaf coffee going and putting out the syrups, which I think we can handle. So for 20 hours each a week, which we work together, they give you a free full hookup campsite, and you're looking out a plate glass window at a lake and a snow-covered mountain.
I really hope my wife does not listen to this episode. This is her love language. You have spoken directly to her soul, and
Coffee and snow-covered mountains.
all of it. Montana, the coffee bar. She'll want to build her own business. It's yeah. Oh boy. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I know what I'm doing next.
So you guys are young, and you're doing this now because you can. I mean, we've all heard the phrase, what is it? Go slow, and then no go. And you guys are going because you seize the moment. And again, your careers of such. I mean, Ron made a comment the other day. He says, growing up with the kids, we didn't get the best of sneakers. We didn't follow all these little trends that everybody was doing because we wanted to do this down the road. And it's sort of cool. And I think you made a comment to me that your kids are just so excited that you're doing this. And I'm just envious because I'd love to be able to do it, but we can do it in shorter windows. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, by the time this is done for this year, I think you said the other day, 97 total days that you guys will be on the road.
Yeah, living out of the camper.
Wow. Now, let's talk about that. We did have a podcast on about dealing with an empty nest. Well, you guys are in a nest that's going from tree to tree, and you're 365, 24/7 in a 30-foot space that's more rectangular than. There's no upstairs. There's no downstairs. Yes, I'm going to go for a hike, honey. I'll be back in 2 days. That doesn't happen with you guys because of your love. But how is it being together that much constantly?
I think it's been pretty easy. And I say that in 100% seriousness. Paula's my best friend. And during our professional careers, we always gave each other the leftover of our days. So we spend ourselves professionally, come home, spend time with the kids. They go to bed. Now we got an hour. So we had an hour in the evening, an hour in the morning where we could spend together. And we're waking up or we're tired and ready to go to bed. And so going to Milton Hershey, it gave us an opportunity to give each other the meat of our days. So we wake up still and, get the kids off to school. But then we have that time in the afternoon. And that was tremendous. And, we talked that for various reasons we left, but we were always able to decompress with one another. And she could tell me what happened in her day. I could tell her what happened in my day, and we could give each other comfort and advice to work through that. But now the last 2 years, I think the downside of that is we had no one to decompress with because we lived it together. And so she really couldn't give me a different view of what happened. I couldn't give her a different view of what happened because we both saw the same thing. So that was kind of hard. And I think that to some degree led to a little bit of negativity.
That's really insightful.
Curt, what was your original question?
Living together has been.
Oh, yeah. So living together has been awesome. So we knew we could do it because we've been together pretty much 24/7, 730. Yes.
Well, you're the math guy.
I did that correctly. And so I think this transition has been easier for us than it would have been for a lot of people.
And you guys are, I'm going to say, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're special people. Jackie and I were talking about your relationship as we saw it. And it's so sincere, and you care for one another, and you look into each other's eyes when you talk to one another, and you are appreciating where you are and what you're doing at that moment. And plus, God is a part of your life and a big part of your life. And it was such a great thing to witness that. And I say thank you for that because it instilled in us that we need to do more of that kind of stuff. I guess the big part of this, what I see out of it is that you've let go of what the norm generally is, and you're doing something different because you have the opportunity to do it, and you did it, as opposed to talking about it and wishing that you did it. You've now are doing it. And I think a lot of people have thoughts. I shouldn't say that. I know myself. I have thoughts of wanting to do things, but I just never hit the go button.
It's the Hallmark card kind of retirement. Everybody talks about doing that kind of stuff. You don't meet a lot of people that actually did it. And here we get to hear the kind of ups and downs of all of that and the reality. But to Curt's point, of being together so much, and then to hear how warm your relationship is, 97 days in the same box is pretty remarkable.
I mean, even for Jackie and I, that this is what you're doing, but even that overnight that we did together helped us as a couple to be in your world for a bit. That just gave us a sense of like, wow, this is really cool to unplug. And I guess that's sort of what I'm talking about, encouraging others to maybe go do something that you've always wanted to do, but it doesn't have to be over the top.
We've had too many friends. We've had too many acquaintances that they got that diagnosis or something tragic happened. And to keep putting off, maybe next year, we're not promised tomorrow, right? And so if there's something that someone is passionate about or dreaming about, find a way to go do something. So in our case, it would have been, renting a cabin in a park and making that drive or taking that flight, or, we've been frugal our entire marriage. And so for us, taking a flight would have been an incredible luxury. And, but taking a flight somewhere and getting a cabin and seeing a mountain would have been a bite size for what we're doing, to get a taste of it and say, yeah, this is what we want to do. We are very fortunate in that we don't have to worry about who's mowing our lawn or taking our trash to the curb. So that our stars aligned, that allowed us, and, I guess it's not a stars aligning. God has blessed us with being able to take this trip, and we know we're going to use what we've learned from it somewhere. I think this trip has helped me to realize better where my giftedness lies that I never acknowledged before. When things come easily, you think, well, everyone can do that. And we're all created differently. So there's been learning along the way, as well as the fun, for me, that we'll take elsewhere. But I think people just need to take that risk and go and do, so that there's no regrets.
And we have the added luxury too. We don't have any grandkids in the picture yet, and our kids are all self-sufficient, and it's a luxury.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that.
We can't thank you guys enough for coming and sharing your story with us. It's so insightful and rich with your career, your time at the Hershey School, and now on the road. And maybe you guys should consider, as you maybe kick off the February, March trek, maybe do a vlog or some kind of post to kind of chronicle how it goes, and let it inspire other people. Just a thought for you. But man, we can't thank you enough for coming and sharing your story with us.
You're welcome. It's been a blessing for us.
Yeah, I think we could probably do sporadic episodes with them, like, where in the world is Paula and Ron? I can't say thanks enough. And God makes things happen. And this spontaneity of a podcast that we did remotely with you guys happening to be in town. Unfortunately, Dale's not here. I know Dale would have loved this conversation. But again, God put us here for a reason. And now people know your story. And we're glad that we were able to communicate that and hopefully inspire some people to just go do something that they want to do. So,
well, Paula does do a weekly Facebook update. So friend request Paula Ledbetter on Facebook, and you'll see what we're doing each week.
All right. And that's how they can get in contact with you. That'd be great. That'd be great. Anything you want to say, Paula, to wrap us up here?
No, just thanks for the chat. It's been wonderful to see you again. It's been great to meet you, Adam. And we just pray blessing over Redirect You, and that you'll impact the people that need to hear what you have to say.
It's in God's hands.
And thanks for joining us on the Redirect Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Redirect Podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Redirect Podcast and have them follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Instagram. Want more information? Do you have a question for Curt, Dale, or Adam?
Or would you like us to consider a topic that interests you for a future podcast? Send us an email at info@redirect-u.com. Remember, the journey isn't over. It's just redirected. There's purpose in your life. Find it and do something about it. Hey, I've got one more comment. The Redirect podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We engage in an open, honest conversations about personal growth, life transitions, and the lessons we've learned through our own experiences. While we speak as experts in our own lives, we are not licensed therapists, medical professionals, or certified coaches. The content shared on the Redirect podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals for any physical, mental, or emotional concerns that you may have. We're grateful to share this space with you and hope that our stories inspire reflection and connection. If you're in need of more support, we encourage you to connect with a trusted professional who can help.